What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 108 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This week I welcomed an Indiana artist. His name is Reesie Woods. He's an R&B act. I actually got in contact with him several months ago. He actually was telling me how he was a big listener of the podcast and a big fan of the show. So I was finally able to get him on this week. We actually discussed a good amount of things. First of all, his whole journey of, starting music around the age of 13, being from a small town in Indiana, and just kind of how he's been navigating that. He talked about how he's planning on moving to Atlanta this summer to continue to pursue music and hopefully meet new people and everything. I'm wishing him luck on that because I think that's going to be a great next step for him. He's got a podcast coming up as well that he's launching, and his album, which he actually, was discussing with me before this show. He's very excited about the ideas he has for it and the songs he's been creating for that. It's coming out at the end of the summer as well. So a lot of cool things he has in the works, and I'm really, just happy that he's a supporter of this show, and I really appreciate him for that, and I'm just going to keep, vouching for him and what he does, and I really love his positive attitude in this show, talking about, being one with yourself, self-love, and really just reaching your full potential as a human being, not just as a creative. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome, everyone, to episode 108 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series, and today I have a fellow Midwest artist out of Indiana, actually. Reesie Woods is here. How are you, man?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Doing great, and man, this is long overdue. I feel like we've been talking about it for the last few months, just going back and forth about it, and I'm glad to finally get it going today. I know that you're working on music and stuff. We got a lot to talk about. First of all, we kind of just have the guest give a bit of background information on, how did you get into music? How long have you been doing it? Pretty much simple information for those that might not be familiar with you and what you do.
Yeah, so I am an R&B artist from Maryville, Indiana. It's about 30 minutes outside of Chicago. Born in Gary, Indiana, raised in Maryville. I would say I first got into music when I was about 13 years old. That's when I first received piano lessons. I started to get piano lessons when I was 13. And since then, I developed those skills, and those only got me so far. And then I began to sing and really articulate like my feelings better through singing and things like that. And I ran with singing, and long story short, and here we are today.
Mm-hmm. That's super great too. And you said 13 years old is pretty much when you got it going, so that's quite a long time.
Yeah, 13 years old, I would say definitely is pretty much when I got it going. I knew that I had the talent, and I knew that I wanted to be something within the entertainment industry since I was a kid, but I didn't really know what that was. But I did not begin to tap into the talents and my drive until I was 13 years old. Mm. So
yeah, and I'm glad that you stuck with it, because obviously now you're seeing the results and seeing it pay off and everything. I don't think I've interviewed anyone from Indiana, believe it or not. Maybe someone from Indianapolis. I'd have to go back and look, but other than that, I'm not really familiar with like the music scene. So what for you, and like in your eyes, is the music scene like? Is there a lot of like artists like coming out and people just might not know about them, or how's that been like for you trying to navigate that?
How it's been trying to navigate being an artist in Indiana, it's pretty much, it's just pretty much like any regular old independent artist. You're just really just trying to get your name out here the best way you can, and just trying to maximize what it is that you do and your potential, and just trying to put your music, your product in front of viewers and trying to get them to really listen to you and feel you out as an artist. In my opinion, though, I don't want to speak for any other fellow Indiana artists, but in my opinion, I felt as though I've done that enough, and I think that I need to go elsewhere to further along my music career and also my talents, because I felt as though I've done everything that I could do here. But if I really want to take it to the next level, I know what I have to do. Mm-hmm. And I think you just pretty much, as an artist, you play that by ear, and you just base it off your own success and how you navigate. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's the best way to do it, is to just to stay in your lane and not pay attention to what everybody else is
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, because it really is like a personal journey too, you know what I mean? And you kind of dictate, especially like you said, as an independent artist, you're kind of the one keeping track of like your progress and where you've been and everything. Have you thought about where you might like want to try to go to? Is it like LA or Atlanta or something like that, or you haven't really thought of it yet?
Actually, it's funny you say that. I'm actually moving to Atlanta next month.
Nice.
I'm actually moving there next month. To the main goal is to make music the priority when I am out there. I've been working on the project for a little over a year now, and I'm hoping to release that by the end of the summer. And moving out there, I think, would be, I guess, the new chapter on just that part of my life that I'm like closing the book on. You know what I'm saying? And that album, it speaks on many of those different things. And it's just kind of like a way to kind of like not maybe, but a way to complete that journey and then to embark on something new. So I'm really excited about moving out there. I think that it's so many different opportunities that I could really get into, and so many different connections that I can make out there. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with networking and connecting with different people and just going where the action is. Even though places could be oversaturated and things like that, if you are confident in your ability and the way that you navigate, I mean, it's bound to happen. Success is bound to happen. So, yeah.
And it's crazy. Cause
sorry,
like,
that was long-winded.
No, that's perfect, man. I love that you went into detail about it because it's a very important step in where you're headed and everything as well. And it's crazy to think like how Atlanta specifically the last like 20 years has become such a big music city. Like it's really like become a go-to spot for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
You might have to keep me posted when you move down there because my friend in Cleveland named Kyle, he's an R&B artist as well. He was talking about moving down there. So like I might be able to connect you guys. I don't know like where when he's doing it or where he's going and everything, but he was talking about moving down there. I definitely want to go down there more because I actually have family in the area. So like I've been to Georgia a good amount of times and everything, and now that I'm into music, I'm like I gotta like at least try some things out and everything. And like you said, I think it's just you'll attract the right people. You know what I mean? There is a lot of people. But you'll find the people that are going to help you take that next step in your journey and just kind of figure out who you want to work with and how that's going to elevate your brand and your career and what you're doing. So I think it's great, man, and I wish you the best of luck on that because that's amazing.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. And before we continue on, I just really wanted to give you your flowers and just shed a light on what you're doing because I really love what you're doing. And I'm a big fan of your podcast, and I actually listen to the artists that you interview. I can't remember the name, but I do remember specifically listening to an artist that you interviewed from the UK.
I'm trying to think of who that could be because my friend Mike, he's from London.
Yes,
might have been him. Yeah.
Yes, and I just remember that being a really good interview. I was actually in the dealership listening to that podcast, but I remember like just listening to that, and I was just like, wow, I really like what he's doing. So I just wanted to give you your flowers and just shed a light on what you're doing because what you're doing is amazing as well.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I should have mentioned that in the intro because you actually told me before that you were like an avid fan. You're like, dude, I've been listening to the show, listening to these episodes and stuff. I'm like, that's great to hear because that goes to show that like what I'm doing is like working, and that's the kind of the goal is to get other artists to hear different perspectives and kind of just hear like what can they apply to their own journey and what can they do in their own journey that will kind of mirror that and have success and we can all grow together. So that's great, and I really appreciate that, man. And thanks for the continued support.
Hey, no problem.
So obviously you've dropped a handful of songs since 2019, really the last like 3 years now. You dropped one EP before. What do you think is the biggest difference between, let's use 2019 as an example. What do you think is the biggest difference between how you were approaching your music then to how you're doing it now with like this new project and everything? How are you songwriting different? How have you grown as an artist in general since that time?
Oh my goodness. I can't even begin to say. I would definitely say the process And the progress since 2019 has been actually, in my opinion, for myself, exponential. I think that um, the sound, absolutely. My voice is a lot stronger. Um, my approach in regards to songwriting is a lot stronger. I collaborate with different people now. I'm definitely open with doing that now. Since songwriting, I want to be as authentic as possible. So when it comes to that, you have to be vulnerable. So working with different people, you know what I'm saying, and people knowing your vulnerabilities, that was like something weird for me, but we all human and we all share the human experience. So I became definitely open to that. But I would say the progress has been exponential. How I approach my first EP, which is Midnight, which is a 5-song EP, I approached that in ways that I think is good for me now, but also ways that I had to really change. And I approached that EP more so from like a perfectionist standpoint, where I kept doing it over and over again, and I was doing myself a disservice and not giving myself breaks and not really taking care of myself in between recording sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's very important because you really want to get the best possible sound, and if you're not 100%, you can hear that through the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's very important with the recording process, and also when you're approaching an album and creating an album or a project or an EP, you know what I'm saying, or even a song. So more so with this, with evolving into the project that I'm working on now, I did a project with a good friend of mine. He goes to Viber DB, and that was more so like experimental for me. I was definitely exploring what I could do and what I don't like to do, and really tapping into like that hip hop side of me, and that was definitely an experience, and it made me more open. And it made me more open because I'm a little bit closed off, and I'm just like, if this is what I'm good at, I'm gonna stick with this. That's how I used to be. Mm-hmm. So that project I did with him opened me up and created this mindset of me approaching this new project that I'm about to release. And it made me open in so many different ways in regards to looking back on my experiences, talking about them, letting myself know that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to talk about these things. We all go through them. If you talk about it, maybe it will help somebody else. And I'm just entirely open to the fact that, like, hey, like, I go through this. Let's put it in a song, and hopefully this helps you, you know?
Yeah. I like what you said about, like, you were kind of a perfectionist, too, like, at the beginning with that first project, because it's like, I've heard from a lot of different people, especially people that have been around for a long time, and they've made it, kind of, quote-unquote, and they've made a living off what they're doing, that perfectionism kind of kills the whole creative energy, because you're too locked in on thinking that there's only one way to do things, and it's got to be this way, and there's no other way to do it. And like you said, you just kept redoing it over and over again, and you kind of get to a point where it's like you learn to let go a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, your music is kind of like your baby in a way, and you want it to be like how it is and everything. And I think over time, it's kind of like you got to go through that as an artist to get to the point where you're more comfortable with just being yourself and being, like you said, vulnerable in the music. And the people that hear that, they will know, exactly what you're trying to say and what you're trying to convey, as opposed to just forcing things and then it might not come across the way you wanted to at the end of the day. So I really think that's something that a lot of people kind of miss.
Absolutely.
But I obviously am looking forward to what you have to say on this album. So what do you think, like, when can we expect it? I know you said, like, end of the summer. Do we have, like, a track listing already, like, in the works, like a number, or what can you reveal about it?
We do have a track listing. We do have that. I would say the project is definitely is mostly recorded. I got about 3 more songs to finish. it's definitely, I do have a track list. The cover art is finished. Everything is finished. We're just still going through the recording process and getting those songs recorded and make sure they sound as good as they could sound. So I do have a title name for you, though.
Is this the big reveal? Is this the first time?
Actually, yes, it is.
Awesome.
Yes, it is. And the album of the title, get into it. It's called Ego Off, Soul On. And I call it that because throughout the last 2 years, I must say that, it's all, I felt as though, like, and even with people in general, I just kind of feel like that it's all about the exterior. It's all about putting on this front as if everything is okay, or you got it all put together, or you got it all figured out, and things like that. And really, you know what I'm saying, that's not really how you truly feel, though. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think that what I did for this project, I really had to kind of drop the facade and drop all of the bullshit and all of the, you know what I'm saying, like putting myself on this pedestal and really just step down and really get in tune with how I feel and really who I am as a person and talk about those things. You know what I'm saying? I think that, and just speaking as a man, I think that we're not really often given the permission to be vulnerable or to be emotional beings because we do what is expected of us. And that is to not cry, to not be upset, to not get angry, to be the provider, to do all of these different things, which is, okay, yeah, we could do those things, but just know that I have feelings too, and I go through things too, and I need to talk about those things as well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, ego off, soul on. Like, hey.
Yeah. I love it, man. Yeah. I love the title, and I think that, like you said, you're going to get really, like, in-depth about it and tell stories you haven't got to tell yet, so it's going to be great to hear it, man. I know, like, you've even been telling me about, like, some of the ideas you're putting together, and, like, I'm just really excited to see, like, where it all goes for you and everything and what it sounds like, so can't wait, man.
Yeah. And some of the songs on the project, now, note that I'm just not, like, tapping into this, like, really deep, like, oh, soul on type of side, you know what I'm saying? I am in the album, you know what I'm saying, just talking my stuff a little bit, like, you could see that little, I guess, we all have it, but that little egotistical side, that little, like, okay, like, I'm hot shit type of side, but you know what I'm saying? But that's not all parts to me, and I think the point of the album is I know that you're more than just the exterior, and it's just all about being yourself and exploring and showing all sides of yourself. And I think that that's more so what this album is about for me. Just talking about my experiences, relationships, friendships, stuff with family members, things like that, and just really just putting that into my music. And I feel like that this is the first time that I've ever done that on that level and talked about these things. I would say this is absolutely my first project where I feel as though it's my first project, even though it's not there. Yeah.
What's going on, everyone? Just wanted to take a quick minute out of today's episode to let you guys know about the sponsor for this summer, Kali Audio. Kali Audio has been around since 2018. They've been providing incredible audio products to music creators, producers, artists, pretty much everyone in between. Shout out to Nate Baglios. I actually got in contact with him earlier this year. He's the head of marketing over there, and he hooked me up with some LP8s, which I've been using. Very great audio quality. Really excited to be able to finally have monitors for myself, to be able to create, especially being a producer as well. They're going to come in handy. I really recommend you guys go check them out. That's Kali Audio, KALI audio.com. You'll be able to see their full lineup of products. Very affordable, very great build quality as well. I'm very impressed with the LP8s, so I can imagine the LP6s and all the other monitors are very good quality as well. So go check them out, and just wanted to remind you, we have a giveaway coming at the end of the summer in August, where I'll be giving away a pair of the LP8s to one lucky contestant. And I'm looking forward to, doing that and gifting the great sounds of Cali Audio to someone else, because I think that's a really great thing to have, especially if you don't have monitors or anything. Once again, big shout out to them. Really appreciate them for even getting back in contact with me. So go check them out. But for now, let's get back into the episode. Looking forward to that, man, and looking forward to seeing just, the balance and, like you said, just showing different sides of yourself as an artist. So congrats, congrats, man. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
I saw as well, I think in your Instagram bio, it says you have a brand as well. Like you're a brand owner as well. So can you go into, the details of what that brand is? And also, I'm curious to know, what is different from being a brand owner as opposed to being like a music artist? Do you approach both of them the same, or is it a little bit different?
Okay, gotcha. That's a really good question. Well, just to start, it's a clothing line that I started with 3 good friends of mine. So I am co-owner of the brand called Protagnia, and the brand is a brand for creatives by creatives, and it is to I'm sorry about the noise. The brand is just to shed a light on creatives and to really create like more sort of like I would say come on, I'm losing my words, for lack of better words. The brand is for creatives. Whether you are an artist, whether you are a painter, whether you are anything creative, this is a brand for you. And basically how we run the brand is we do things in drops. And that's kind of the way that's kind of the branding direction we took over the last year and a half, because at first we used to do things by collections, and we used to design a bunch of things and, hey, this is our summer collection. But now we do things in drops, and that has definitely been working for us. And I do this brand with my 4 good friends, Jalen Forrest, Jordan Young, and Thomas Smith. And Thomas Smith is definitely more to say the ship leader of the entire thing. He's definitely been doing his thing when it comes to the designing and the branding of Protagnia. And a lot of where the brand is now actually would not be where it is today if it wasn't for the leadership and the direction that Thomas has been giving and doing. So I'm really excited about that, because we actually started this around when I first dropped my first EP, Midnight, and it started in 2009. And like I was telling you earlier, I definitely seen exponential growth with myself as an artist, but also with Protagnia as well. Mm-hmm. So I would say that I've been growing with Protagnia too. Yeah. And to answer your question on like the approach of like, how I approach my artistry versus how I approach a business, more so to say it's just, owning the many different hats that you wear, It's not easy, because you definitely have to get in more so of a business mindset. And what's difficult for me is kind of like separating that creative mind, but also that business mind. Being creative in general, like, because I love fashion and I have an eye for fashion. Being creative and kind of designing things, I don't have any difficulty with that. But more so like flipping the 2 switches, the creativity switch and the business switch, that's often difficult. And I'm still trying to master that. But I would say that it's definitely a lot easier, but it's easier said than done, I must say. Yeah.
And it's crazy that kind of got going, like you said, 3 years ago, around the time when your music started going and everything. And it'll be cool to like see, down the line, like where both end up, you know what I mean? Because I think they're just going to continue to grow and evolve. And like you said, like about the switch thing, I was thinking that before you even said it. I was like, it's kind of like the switch. You kind of got to balance both and just figure it out. And it is tough, and obviously like some people can do it better than others, I guess, but I think it's just the more you do it, over time. It's like muscle memory, and you kind of just get in the habit of it and kind of keeping it all working together. But I'm gonna have to really dive into the brand because I didn't honestly go in and like look at it, and I didn't see the name of it. But I'm gonna have to go check it out because it sounds really cool and what you guys are doing.
Yes.
And I'll have to support. Like if the clothes are dope, I will even support and I'll buy stuff and like see what you guys have got. So
Absolutely. It's amazing, and the name itself is kind of trippy because it's actually wordplay on the word protagonist. So we called it Protagnia because, because I was fumbling over my words earlier, but basically we call it Protagnia because you are the protagonist. The protagonist. You are the main character, and you are, I would say, the leader of whatever it is that you do. So it's just basically keeping you empowered to keep doing what you're doing and to just unapologetically just shine in your creativity. And that's what we really wanted the brand and wanted the soul of it to really be about.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to share that on here because I just wanted to highlight that. I didn't know like the details of it, but it sounds like it kind of just ties in perfectly with your music and what you're doing and everything and kind of the whole movement. So that's awesome. And keep that up. Keep up the good work with that, man.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So what do you think is coming up next for you? Obviously the album. Is there anything else, maybe shows or anything else you have in the works for the summertime or later this year? What do you want to reveal?
It's actually funny that you say that because although I'm here trying to finish up, I'm here in Fort Wayne trying to finish up the album. I am actually in the middle of producing my own talk show.
Nice.
The talk show podcast, but I really wanted to go in the direction of a talk show. I do enjoy conversation, and as my sister says, every time I'm out with friends or a group of family members, I'm always trying to spark a conversation. And sometimes she would have to stop me. But I really do enjoy the art of conversation and how you could just fall into these many different rabbit holes of like these different perceptions of or how people can really perceive things differently. So I'm actually in the middle of producing my first episode for the talk show that I'm going to call King Talk. And the first episode will actually consist of my own exclusive interview about my project.
Nice.
So I would say I'm interviewing myself for the project, but I also have a really good friend of mine who is Dave, and who also helped with the songwriting of this project, is helping me out with this. And it would also be the first thing released underneath my production company that I'm calling Create. And you know what I'm saying? And then we're just going to continue to grow from there. But the talk show will be called King Talk, and what it's going to consist of is just me talking to many different people, men, and getting their perspective and sharing and shedding a light on the many different perspectives of men and how we perceive things. I would love to have women on the show because, without the woman, there isn't man, and I would love to have many different perspectives of women and how they view men and their relationships and things like that. But I think that just creating a platform for men and black men at that, because I kind of feel like that we're one of the most disrespected beings. I think just creating that platform for us to share many different things that bother us and just what we go through here in America, I think that would it's a very positive thing, and I just wanted to create that platform.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, looking forward to that, man. Because like a lot of my friends have made shows the last couple of years as well, and like their podcasts and everything, and I've been listening to them. So whenever you get it going, like whenever you drop the first episode, I'll tune in. I'm always looking for new shows to listen to and everything, and I'm sure it's going to be great, man. And it really sounds like it's going to be something that is going to affect people in a positive way too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was told, because this actually came to me. I felt as though I received this vision from God, but it was actually told to me by multiple people that my music evokes a lot of positive feelings in them, and they actually they've given me words of encouragement to keep going and to keep doing my music because of how it impacted them. You know what I'm saying? And most of my songs, they stem from conversation, and they stem from me realizing these many different things and coming to realization of many different things. And at the end of the day, I just kind of feel like that my purpose is to positively influence people and to just kind of be that mouthpiece for people who can't really necessarily get that from anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all pull from many different things, but even if one person is to pull an ounce from positivity from me, I have completed my task. So, yeah.
That's the beauty of creativity, too. It doesn't just have to be music. It can be a podcast. It can be a brand. It can be all kinds of different things. Like, the possibilities are endless, and I think, like I said, the more you go and, you know, the further you take it, it'll just continue to grow, and the community will build, and you'll just see great results. So I'm really happy for you, man, and what you're doing. So
thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So last few episodes, man, I'm fumbling too. Last few questions here. These are ones I ask on every episode. And the first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
10 years ago, I was 16. I would definitely tell myself, and I definitely would be a lot better off now, but I would definitely tell myself, definitely be more open. Don't let no one try to tell you who you are, because you validate you. Nobody else validate you. And I would definitely be a whole lot better off now, because I'm getting to the point where I'm now realizing that I am in a healthy space where I can only validate myself, and I roll with that. And I am 100% confident in my abilities, and 100%. And I love myself to the fullest. So I don't need anyone else to tell me that they love me. I don't need anybody else to tell me that, you know, I'm doing a great job. Because if I know that I'm doing a great job and I'm giving 100% of what I do, that's what matters. And that is what's keeping me going. Whew. Yeah. So I would tell myself that.
Yeah. It's a thought-provoking question. Sometimes you gotta sit with it. But if we could flip that then, and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in your life and your career?
I would definitely, oh my gosh, in my career, 10 years from now, I would pray to at least have 4 Grammys. No, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, even 5 years from now, I definitely want to be a point in my life where I am reaping all of the sacrifices that I am making now. I am where I would want to be, and I am for lack of better words, living off all of the hard work that I am putting into what I love to do today. Even 10 years from now, just having a family and just having that life that I always dreamed of, because I don't want to be 55 or 60 and I'm just I get to finally live life. You know what I'm saying? I think that life is precious, and you should enjoy every moment that life provides. And doing things by age and stuff like that, age is just a number. You know what I'm saying? Just living life and prioritizing things the way that it falls into place. I think that just going with the flow is the best way to go sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I have this song on my project called Cruise Control. And it's just about living in the moment. And in the lyrics, it says, cruise control, I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the ride. I'm just here living life, and I'm just here for the ride. Sometimes we just have to stop controlling everything and just let things be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, if anything, I'm trying to see the beautiful side of life and trying to enjoy it the best way that I can. And 10 years from now, I just hope that all of my dreams and hopes, I'm just living in those.
Yeah, and that's all you can ask for at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Just, that's ultimate goals, man. So
right, man, because I could just go down a list of all the things that I want to have accomplished. But at the end of the day, I just want to be happy, and I do want to be successful.
Yeah, 100%, man. So do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
I would just say, like I was saying earlier, I think that, you know, we all walk through life, and we're all trying to navigate this life the best way that we can, you know, but I do think that we're all doing a great job, and we're all doing the best that we know how to do. I do think that, you know, like I was saying earlier, we all need to validate ourselves. We can't continue to seek that validation from other people, because at the end of the day, we're gonna get disappointed by those people because of our expectations and the expectations that we place upon people. You know what I'm saying? I think the best way to navigate this is to just really get in tune with yourself and to live this life for you. Figure yourself out, know the things that you like, know what your favorite color is, know what things you like to eat, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that if you are fully operating in yourself, I think that the person that you're supposed to be with, or any person would take note of that, and you would gravitate all of the positive aspect that life has to offer. And I think that we should just continue to validate ourselves and not seek that from other people. So,
I think they call that reaching your full potential. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, thank you so much again for the time. I really appreciate it. Once again, thanks for, you know, supporting the show and being a listener. I'm looking forward to that album, man. I'm looking forward to everything you got going, your podcast. Like, just keep doing your thing, man, because you're an inspiration to me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and I was happy to have you on here, and this is great. We're gonna have to do this again soon, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 108. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.